Welcome! Today you're gonna learn all you need to know about sidechain ducking in Bitwig Studio. My name is Mattias, and today make sure you watch the whole video till the end, because we're gonna dive into some more creative ways that you can use sidechaining in Bitwig. And basically, when we talk about sidechain ducking, we're talking about this pumping effect that you can hear in music. And often it's a kick that reduces the volume of a bass or the music. So each time you have a kick hit, you reduce the volume of the music. So let's listen to a quick demo. So as you can hear, each time we have a kick hit, we're reducing the volume of the music, but there's also other ways that you can use sidechaining. But let's take a look at how you set this up properly in Bitwig. So first out in this arrangement we have a kick track with the 4 on the floor kicks. And I'm using the V8 kick from the Bitwig native plugins. And we also have a couple of pads and a melody sound and some bass recorded with some analog synths. I think it's the X synth in this case. And without any processing, they sound like this. So you can see we have a continuous volume going. So now we're gonna apply the sidechaining. First out, we're gonna group these tracks so we have them in a single group, so we can sidechain all the sounds in a single group. And to do that, you select the tracks and press Command G. And that way you create a group. And on this group, you're gonna add a tool device, like so. And we're gonna expand the modulators. So we're gonna add an audio sidechain modulator, which is gonna drive down the volume or reduce the volume. So press the plus sign in the modulators and we're gonna add the audio sidechain. We're gonna click that modulator to expand the view. Now we're gonna select the sidechain input that's gonna drive this sidechain effect. So we're gonna press this button and we're gonna send the kick into this track. But you can also send hi-hats or other type of transient instruments into this audio sidechain. So we're gonna open the device input and we're gonna set it pre, which means before any volume. And that means that even if we mute the kick track, it's gonna still send signal into this audio sidechain. Next up, we need to set the modulation output of this sidechain device to affect the volume. So we're gonna press this modulator mapping button, the skeleton key, and attach it to the volume. So drag and reduce the volume like so. Next up, we can press escape or the same modulator button to deactivate the mapping. And now let's press play and hear what happens. You can see we get a little bit of a reduction, but we can always increase this effect by increasing the input gain of the audio sidechain effect. So increase the gain to say 5-6 dB. So now we get a more like prominent effect. We can always decrease the rise, which means it's like the attack, how fast this sidechain is gonna affect the volume. So we're gonna decrease the attack to be very fast and also decrease the release slightly to like, 70 milliseconds. And if you increase the fall time, it's gonna take longer for the volume to get up to the full volume again. So you need to find a sweet spot. With the audio sidechain modulator, we can also set the in-watch area of the frequency spectrum the audio sidechain should listen. And since this is a kick sound we're listening to, we can reduce the filter to only focus on the lower area of the sound. So if we would instead send a hi-hat to this effect, we need of course to change the area to the area we listen to. So now I've set the audio sidechain to listen to the hi-hat. And you can clearly see that the frequencies we need to listen to are higher up the frequency range. So we're gonna set the filter to listen to the top area. And you might also need to change the input gain, since it's a lower sound in this case. And adjust to taste until you get your desired sound. So this is how we set up a simple sidechain ducking effect in Bitwig. Now we can of course use other tools to create this kind of sidechain effect without using an input signal. We can use a modulator like a classic LFO or something. So we're gonna right click this audio sidechain effect, or audio sidechain modulator, and we're gonna instead add a classic LFO and press the LFO to expand, and we're gonna map this like we did before, map it to the volume. By default, the LFO is bipolar, so it's going to go both to the plus side and the minus side. So we need to set it to unipolar, so it only goes down, so to speak. And to make a similar effect to our audio sidechain, which was driven by the kick, which is 4 on the floor, we need to set the rate of the classic LFO to beats, and also change the curve to be a sawtooth. And now we get a similar effect that we had from the audio sidechain. I also recommend adjusting the curve to suit your attack and fall. Really slow, but we're gonna make it more snappy, so drag it downwards. The cool thing about using an LFO is that we can instantly change the rate of this sidechain effect. So set it to 8 notes. And what I actually like to do is to attach a macro or controller to control the rate, so we can do it in real time with some kind of controller. But you can also add a macro. So we're gonna add a macro. So we're gonna map the macro to the rate. Just drag upwards on the rate, like so. And now we can change the rate here. You can see, hopefully you can see these small blue dots, but that's when we change the rate. Another cool thing with the LFO is that we can change the amount, so how much this classic LFO sidechain will affect. So maybe you only want this ducking effect on certain parts of your track, and you can easily automate this amount. Right, so next up we're going to look at using a filter instead of a tool device, so we can sidechain a filter. So press the plus sign to add an effect, and we're going to start for filter and add a filter plus device. Let's hide the modulator on the tool device and expand the modulators on the filter plus device. And like before, we're going to add a classic LFO. And we're going to attach that, or map that to the filter cutoff. And again, we need to deactivate bipolar, so we get a unipolar effect. And set it to rate again, or a beat again. Now you can always swap that falling sawtooth to rising sawtooth and get another type of effect. So let's just mute the kick. So you can get some really cool effects like this, and then we could always add some delay or reverb after this. So let's add a Valhalla Supermassive reverb after that one. So you can really get creative here and do all kinds of various stuff. Now we can always try some other modulators. So let's right click and deactivate that modulator, and we're gonna add something else. Let's try the curves. That's a really fun one. So let's map the curves to the filter cutoff. Again, deactivate bipolar. You can also combine different modulators to affect the same parameter, the filter cutoff in this case. So let's activate our first classic LFO again. So we have both of these working on the filter cutoff. Okay, so I hope this gave you some ideas how to use modulators and sidechain ducking creatively in Bitwig Studio. Let me know in the comments here. Now, if you want to support my channel and also join my Patreon community, you can go to patreon.com/Gelhain. That way you get some behind the scenes footage, you get some free preset packs and the latest news, and you don't miss out on any of my upcoming content. Okay, so that's all for today. See you in the next one. Bye.